Now that we have proprietary cards turned on and our system set to single or dual entry, we can go ahead and create a card. So we can navigate to cards, driver vehicle records, select the plus here at the top right to add a new card. Here we're going to see various options that we have enabled. And for this tutorial, I've gone ahead and turned on almost all the options that we have available. So you may not see all these options on your particular setup, but I just wanted to show you that here's the options that we have available to you and how they function. So first, we have select card type. Your cards are going to be listed as a driver card or a vehicle card, and some of those may be a single card. So you'll want to make sure that your system is configured already so that you know, are you using driver cards, vehicle card combination? Are you using single cards only? Are you using a combination of all three cards? So in this example, I'm going to go ahead and leave it on driver card. But if you are doing a dual entry system, you'll need both drivers and vehicles in order to be able to fuel. So you'll need to make two cards to be able to get that to work. So we're going to leave it on driver. Expiration is going to be when the card is set to expire. If you're using expiration, you would just put in a day that you would like that card to stop working, and it will expire on that day if you turn on this option and you select that day. Record status, we have valid currently. Valid is required for anything to be able to fuel. If you have any of these other options here, invalid, FSC invalidated, invalid 3-bat pins, anything that's selected here other than valid, the card will be invalid and it will not be able to fuel until you enable it back to valid and you update the card. These descriptions can be changed. There is another option to relabel these, and some of them have no description and you can configure what you would like them to say. Just keep in mind that it's got to be valid in order to be able to fuel. PIN numbers. PIN numbers allow you to, similar to a debit card, they allow you to be prompted for an additional PIN. This is important if you have physical media and you want them to be able to, protect yourself from somebody dropping the card in the street and somebody picking it up and just going to fill up their truck. So here, just similar to a debit card, it will be prompting you for an additional number. So in this case, type in 1234. So if this driver was valid, it would go ahead, he'd enter his card or wipe his card or whatever to authorize the terminal, and then it will ask him for this additional PIN number. So it's just a secondary verification for that PIN. Not to be confused with just a keyboard entry of a number that you may configure up here, and we'll go over that. Down here, allow miscellaneous entry. Miscellaneous entry is just basically a additional prompt that this card is prompting for. So you'll have your installer configure those prompts. And if you would like it to be prompted for this miscellaneous, you would just turn that on, and when they authorize, it will prompt you for this entry. Second language we can skip. Most people aren't using that. Card operates as single. This is if you're using the third card type, which is a single card. So this would be a driver card flagged as a single entry system. So this will allow card to singly turn on the pump without a vehicle. Because the single, only one card is required for single cards to turn on the pump. We're going to turn that off since we're going to do a driver and a vehicle combination here. So we're going to need two cards. Account configured controls. This basically means we're not going to use the card restrictions down here below. They're going to gray out. We're going to use the configuration that's set on the account level. So to do so, you'll want to go up to cards and then select accounts and then configure those under the account. Right now, we're going to turn those off and we're going to set them on the card. So here we have a driver ID and FSC presented media. The FSC presented media is the number that's being read by the terminal at the time of fuel. So if you're using a mag strip card, a chip key, some sort of RFID tag, or a keyboard entry, this is the number that's being read. If we're going to do keyboard entry again, we could do something like 1234, and then our driver will go up to the terminal and he will enter 1234 on the keyboard. And as long as that's enabled and this card is valid, he will be able to start. If we're using something like a magstripe card, That format is important that we know exactly what that card is being read as from the reader on the terminal. So if it's a magstrip card, it might be like 16 digits. We might be looking at something more like this, in which case, when they swipe that magstripe card, the reader is going to read this number off of that card, and that card needs to be considered valid, and that number needs to be accurate here. The driver ID number is a little bit separate. What that is the number that's going to show up on the report or the export of the data that's in DX Fleet after you've already fueled. So when we see that transaction or report, it's going to be reflected by this driver ID. Now, this is an alphanumeric field, so you can use letters and numbers to be able to set this ID up. So if you have some sort of third-party system and you want this ID to match that, then you can use both characters as well as numbers in this string. If you would like them to match your FSC presented media, you can definitely create them the same, in which case that media number will be what's shown on the report. So just keep in mind that this driver ID field cannot be changed after we create this card, whereas the FSC media can be changed. So if somebody needs a new card, you could update that number. This number will be locked for this card. You will not be able to edit this after we create the card. Driver name, this is just going to be the name associated to that. We're just going to do test driver card. Down here, you'll see it says phone, but this is the card user 1, card user 2 fields. These are just informational fields to store additional information on the card. They don't go down to the fuel site controller. They don't show up on a report. They're just informational fields. And you can edit the name like you see here for phone. So if you wanted to put in somebody's cell phone number, if you wanted to put in employee ID, a birthday, anything like that, that you would like to track on a particular card, you could just put those here, but just keep in mind, they're just informational. They don't actually distinct anything. They're just here on the card for your reference. Down here under count controls, when you're creating a dual entry system, various restrictions will come into play. One of those is account and account level restrictions. So you may or may not have account level restrictions, but it is important to kind of put the card in the correct account. If you're looking for a card that's not restricted to only one account and can cross fuel amongst other accounts, then you may want to select this no associated, which means this card is global and it's not restricted to one particular account. If you'd like it to just be under a certain account, so that when you run a report for, like, say, the equipment account, this card's transactions will show up, then you could do that also. So this is just where is the card going to live and under what account is it going to live. To the right of that, you'll see the short name field. So we're just going to name this test D for driver. This is 9 characters or less. So this is just an abbreviated version of the name field. You can give it whatever you'd like as the short name. Monthly allocations and daily allocations are just daily limits and monthly limits for this card. So if you want them to be restricted to a certain amount, then you can put in those limits however you see fit. If you don't have these enabled, then these will just not show up. If you have some cards that need allocation and others not, then this will be a required field. So you'll have to put something in there. You can put in a large number that is not going to get restricted because you're not going to hit 9,999, for example. On the right, we have quantity restrictions and product restrictions. These are set up on a different page. Just note that once they're configured, you'll have these drop downs available to you. If you don't have anything in this right now, then we can go configure those later and then come back and create the card, and you'll see these options show up. Under mine, for quantity, let's just select 100. This card's going to have a 100-gallon restriction. Anything over 100, the pump will basically shut off. Your pump also has a level of restriction for max quantity and some timeouts for the pump itself. So you may hit other additional timeouts that might also restrict you. So you want to make sure that your pumps are configured to your max quantity that you need and the amount of time that it's going to take your equipment to actually fuel. You want to make sure those are configured correctly also. Product restrictions, those are going to be what products can you actually fuel with this card? So for example, if I just select unleaded, here we're going to be able to turn on an unleaded pump. If I select a diesel pump, when it tells me to enter the pump number, then it will deny me because I have unleaded only. If you have multiple products, then it will allow you, for example, diesel 1, diesel 2 restriction will allow me to fuel either of these diesel selections. If I select a pump for unleaded, I will be denied fuel. Fuel zone, if you want your card to go to all of your sites, you just leave it all sites. Fuel zones is only if you need to restrict the cards to only certain sites. Once we have all this configured, then we can go ahead and hit save.